powering trusted identities of the world's people, places, and things. Every day, millions of people in more than 100 countries use our products and services to securely access physical and digital places. Over 2 billion things that need to be identified, verified, and tracked are connected through HID Global's technology.
Hello again, everyone. Another session of our Lunch and Learn series. This time, still focusing on healthcare, still focusing on our safe product. This time, we're going to talk about outpatient facilities a little bit more, specifically how you can improve that outpatient experience with, let's say, a product like Safe. Darwin, if you want to get into today's topics, we can go ahead and get us kicked off. So we've got 3 yet again today that we're going to walk through. So starting out, why outpatient facilities should think about visitors, walk-in visitors at outpatient facilities. Another way of saying that would be unscheduled, which we'll actually get into some of that here in a minute with Duane and how that kind of language is actually pretty important for the discussion. And then reports, so how reports can help security and personnel planning. It's kind of some interesting things I think Darwin's going to show us in the software beyond just the person getting checked in or the person checking in. So care organizations have a lot of different security considerations across the multiple spaces, multiple regulations. There's a lot of different people walking around a healthcare facility. And you can see some of the different types of individuals that Safe might be looking to help address their needs, whether it's for the management of them from an identity standpoint or their physical access needs. Specifically today, just like the last one we had, we're going to be focusing in on patients and visitors. This time we're going to be focusing on the patients and visitors more in an outpatient context, as opposed to an inpatient context. So if you didn't catch the last session, or you're watching them out of order or whatever, we did have a session similar to this on inpatients last time, so check that out. And while we get kicked off into our actual topics, Darwin. All right. So, Duane, last time we talked about inpatients, and in a lot of that discussion, there's a lot of security that plays into the equation from a visitor management of inpatient and inpatient visitors. Outpatient facilities, is it a similar thought process to what's going on there? What are they thinking about a little bit when they need to be thinking about visitors, or why that's so important for them? So let's start with that and go from there.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. So it's slightly similar in the idea that we still want to know who's in our building and when they're in our building, and we want to make sure that those visitors are associated to the patients that are there. Now, specifically with outpatients, some of these facilities are standalone clinics. Some of these facilities are hospitals with inpatient and outpatient. And we always want to know, why are these people here, right? So that first step is understanding the outpatient perspective of it. So we're actually capturing information from their health medical record system. And we're reading that information to identify whether these outpatients have scheduled appointments. And to that point, we're allowing them, or they have the ability to now check in through Safe. So we know we're capturing these patients have outpatient visits for today, and they can actually check in using the system. So we can track them as well. And any other visitors that are accompanying any of these outpatients will also have the ability to track them as well.
You mentioned briefly either standalone facilities or those that are, I'll use maybe some of the wrong words here, but maybe they're commingled with inpatient facilities. Maybe it's part of a building or something. One of the things that comes to mind, Darwin, you'll know these words kind of similar to a lot of what we hear in cybersecurity, where it's about layered defenses or whatever. That inpatient, outpatient kind of commingled space, I would think this is also beneficial from that standpoint. Duane, Darwin, chime in too here, where you don't want the outpatient facility to maybe be your weak link in your overall security posture. You certainly don't want someone to maybe come in through an outpatient facility and move laterally, again, to use kind of other phrases. So definitely seems like it'd be important for an outpatient facility that shares a physical space with other inpatient facilities, right?
Yeah, that makes total sense, 100%. Because again, that could be that small little loophole or that small gap.
Yeah.
And now when you're managing your outpatient, like I said, you are confirming that, Philip is in here because he has, an X-ray, that day. So we're checking him in against his scheduled appointment. And Darwin is going to escort him because he's had an eye appointment. He's going to get his eyes dilated and he's not going to be able to see. So Darwin's going to escort him. So now we have Philip and Darwin in our system, and we're vetting them through our internal watch list. We're vetting him through our external watch list and so forth.
Okay. Darwin, any thoughts on maybe something other than the security aspect? I mean, we talk about safe and efficiencies and processes a lot. Any thoughts on how that may impact some of these facilities?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when you're looking at a healthcare facility, there are two things that in my years to discussing with folks in the industry that is very important. Number one, the attainment of workflow efficiencies. You want to strive to provide the best patient experience. Some cases, they're true north goals where they do everything in their power to try to achieve patient-centered care, and a solution like SAFE helps them achieve that because you are providing a frictionless check-in experience, where we can take the information that is entered by the practitioner in the healthcare electronic record system and already preload that information. And when then you got your visitor desk, people that can provide the information, and that visit can be pulled up quickly and capture any other additional information that they need, and you can use peripherals to further increase the amount of friction that we remove out of the checking process. And by having those patients out there already, you can make sure that you are keeping track of who's in there, and it just has follow-on benefits. Anything from contract tracing to making sure that if you are enforcing patient visits levels, that what's then where we're one feature that we introduced lately also that has been interesting is the use of mass notifications. So sometimes you may have the if you have the inpatient and the outpatient, when you have both, you have the ability of having all your visitors being notified in case of an emergency. In the last session we were discussing earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes. So and they were anywhere in the country, there are going to be situations that you want to have that information, know who's in your facilities, leverage those watch lists to, either, it sometimes watch list does not mean that, okay, this is somebody that needs to call the police. Is that you might have a patient that might had a seizure incident before, or is a person that is prone to falls. So, making sure you can put them on the watch list, and the instructions is, instead of calling police, it's just like make sure that this person has a wheelchair available for them. So that is the level of service, level of patient experience that you can, by capturing this data and managing it, you can deliver to your patients. Plus the workflow efficiencies, because instead of like having manual processes that writing stuff down, now you have the data, you can reuse it, you can repurpose it. Like I said, using information on the watch list is like, hey, this person is prone to falls, make sure that they have a wheelchair, and so on.
You mentioned something real quick that I think is also interesting when you think about some of these outpatient facilities. I know some of the facilities I go to with my child, being able to extend, say, a visitor system with like a kiosk, so that maybe I want to check in, quickly over at the kiosk. Maybe not to pick on Duane, but He's thousands of miles away, so I can right now, though I may regret it later. But, maybe Duane does want to actually talk to the person at reception. So being able to also give that flexibility within the space, I think has to be a real boon. It probably doesn't meet quite the same level as, reducing friction and queuing and stress as an inpatient facility, but it's got to be somewhat beneficial in a number of ways, I would think. Duane, since I picked on you and you can't get me right now, any thoughts on having that optionality and helping outpatient facilities from that standpoint too?
No, I think it's a very beneficial method of doing things. So yeah, it's again, very, very beneficial, very simple process for us to implement, to use, or most healthcare facilities to implement and use.
Yeah, and it just adds, like that to the patient experience and meet patients where they want to be. You initiate the encounter by going to a kiosk and just signing up on the kiosk, and then when they're ready to call you, they can call you. It's like, you can go up to a kiosk, and the kiosk, it can be made out of a tablet, a PC. You can either scan your appointment, check in, and the desk will be notified, hey, this person is here for the appointment, and once they're ready for you to do any paperwork that is needed, they can call you up. And it's just having that flexibility of providing that patient experience. The ones that want to do the kiosk, want to do the self-service thing, they can do the self-service things. They can go up to the visitor desk and get their the VMO visitor desk, checking them in and having that flexibility, plus the reporting that goes with it.
Some of these facilities, there's an urgency factor. So, maybe I'm wheeling. I won't pick on Duane this time. Maybe I'm wheeling you in for something that happened just all of a sudden. I think you had an example it's worth relating to, because it's not always going to be a scheduled visit that an outpatient facility needs to think through. So from a safe standpoint, any kind of guidance on how to think of those unscheduled visits in a safe world, either of you actually?
But think of it like any ED. Mm-hmm. Any ED facility, typically you're going to have people coming in with situations, and most of these individuals are probably not inpatient or scheduled visits, right? So, essentially that's what we consider to be our unscheduled visits. The solution has various ways that you can manage that. Yeah. It really depends on policies and procedures of the hospital, of the health facility, of the health system overall. But the solution allows you to check in individuals, even though they may not be patients in your health medical record system at that point, right? So, your unscheduled visits, any and every ED will essentially come across this scenario, and there are workflows defined to be able to alleviate this stress.
Okay. Darwin, anything to add on that one?
Yeah, and being able to leverage a solution like this one that we were talking about, and so it gives a little operational control to your guards, to your receptionist, to that check-in desk, because you want to have that situational awareness, because you want to know right away if the person coming in, is an actual patient, not somebody that has come in the past, and they might have a different goal in mind other than receive a standard of care for them to address an issue that they really have. And just putting blank, person that wants to do X, says that has Y, And sometimes, you might have person that goes facility to facility trying to find out the facility that will give them what they're looking for. And that's something that, using that, you can use it, to, either give a heads up to your desk, on those scheduled visits, because like when you have an unscheduled visit, you don't, at first, a first glance, you'll have no way to validate, is this a valid visit or not. And, having that awareness and being able to maintain that information to give you that situational awareness can go a long way in a host of situations. It could be, persons that are, doing venue shopping, others that are, that are not supposed to be there because they were ordered off premise and they're trying to get in, kind of like we were talking about earlier in the previous example, where they're trying to get into the inpatient area out of the outpatient area.
Yeah.
So trying to kind of be sneaky like that.
Yeah. So we actually have a question about reports, which is perfect because that's actually the next topic. And you even mentioned contact tracing. We've discussed, planning a little bit. So maybe now's a good time to flip over to that, and we can kind of dive into the software maybe as we're talking through some of the reports and some of those things from a reporting standpoint. Duane, what questions or what are some of the scenarios you're hearing about some of our customers that are looking at outpatient or have outpatient, some of the reports that they're getting an advantage from or getting value from?
So the reports are, let's probably not make the reporting so specific to outpatient, because again, outpatient is typically, hey, Matthew came in for this appointment, Darwin came in for this appointment. We do want to be able to, or we do have the ability to run reports that, these are all the visitors that have accompanied outpatient visitors in the last 30 days, right? Or things like that. Or, this person that had an outpatient visit for a COVID vaccine actually tested positive. Now we want to be able to run a report, almost like a contact tracing report. We want to run a report that shows all the visitors that have potentially entered that facility in the last 30 days. Depending on hospital policies, whatever we capture, we can maybe contact those individuals to let them know you might have come in contact with a person who had COVID, et cetera, whatever policies follow. However, specifically with the healthcare perspective, the healthcare side, there's a tremendous amount of new reports that have been implemented in the solution. One being that contact tracing, another one being from a check-in visitor perspective. How many visitors have checked in at this particular location at this particular time? So we can get more specific and granular with the kind of information that we're extracting from Sage. So there's a whole plethora of reports, all patient details. So although we do capture, that EMR or the PHI coming from your EMR into Sage, we're bringing that into Sage. So we have fairly updated patient details at any specific given time. 90% of our reports are dynamic. So if data changes, it automatically changes and gives you that new report, right?
Very good. Just to our final slide, our recap, our final thoughts. Again, this was fun. I love doing this with you too. We'll do it again soon. In fact, really soon. Next one will be on kiosks. So might dive a little more into some similar or related workflows here. Definitely interesting though to think about the healthcare facilities and how they need to think about visitor management in all areas. We discussed it. There's a ton around process efficiencies that they're going to get out of this, being able to check in individuals, check in their visitors in a quicker basis. I think the other thing that was interesting is the thought of kind of that layered approach. You don't want an outpatient facility that's maybe commingled with other facilities to somehow be the weak link. And so being able to extend a lot of these core concepts around visitor management into these facilities is just something I think is sorely needed. And so I'm excited to keep talking about this with customers and exploring this space. Duane, Darwin, anything you want to wrap us up with or quick final thoughts.
Yeah, I have 2 points that we talked about. I think the two most important things when we talk about outpatient, one is efficiency, and the other one is patient experience, right? Because when you're an inpatient, your expectations are that you're going to be there for an extended period of time. When you're an outpatient, you want to get in, get your appointment done, and get out, right? And the seamless, streamlined check-in process allows that to be done through the application, right? We're listening to those scheduled messages. Your information is already in saved, whether you use a kiosk or a guest services desk. We check you in, we add visitors, and then you're going about your way. So that efficiency, and as well as that experience to allow them to, again, not have to worry about the poor efficiency, but better efficiency of getting in and getting out.
And I will just add that, you have a side benefit that you increase the security and, the protection of those folks in your facility. Not only your patients, but your visitors, inpatient, outpatients. So while focusing and receiving the workflow efficiencies and that patient experience, so we that patient-centered care, we also improving our security and the protection of our visitors or patients, our staff. And I'll leave you back to Matt to close us off. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. Guys, I appreciate it. Like I said, we'll do this again soon. Maybe one more in the hopper, maybe two. We'll see. Appreciate those that joined us today. We do have a previous one, which is on inpatients, so similar tone and cadence. I think that one was pretty interesting too, overall. And so I appreciate the time. If you've got questions, reach out to Duane or Cleet, or your CSM, your customer success or salesperson. We want to keep having these conversations, and Anthony, appreciate the time you gave us here today too. So everyone have a lovely weekend, and we'll see y'all again soon.
Take care, everyone. Thanks, Matt. You guys be well.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Take care.
Thanks, Anthony. Bye-bye.